In this part of the tutorial, I'm going to look at integrating these proximity sensors into our ladder logic. Now, we're going to have to get things started. I like to start things with a push button. So we're going to drag in one of these examine if closed and associate it with one of our inputs of our PLC. In this situation, I'm going to select in 0 for our first push button. And then in order to bring this proximity sensor into our ladder logic, I'm going to bring in another one of these examine if closed. I'm going to associate that with that proximity sensor. So we're going to type in the name of that proximity sensor and double click. Connect that up. And we're going to need an output to energize. Doesn't matter what you name this for now, as we're just going to associate it. So if the push button is pressed and the cylinder is in the retract position, I'd like to move this valve, which is controlled by this solenoid, in order to move this cylinder. So I look here, this is solenoid A, which is here, and connected to out 0 of our PLC output card. So I'm going to associate this output with out 0. And then I'm going to connect these two lines. We'll run the simulation. And just like that, we can get our pneumatics moving. Now, we need something to move it back. So, we're going to drag in a lot of the same components. And we're going to associate them. So first, I'd like to press a button to retract the cylinder. So I'm going to associate that with in 2. Next, I'd like to make sure it's extended before I try and retract it. So I'm going to associate this with C1 extended. Next, I need to fire the solenoid that controls this valve, which controls the retraction of the cylinder, which is hooked up to output 1 of my PLC output card. And there we go. If we just hook this all up, you should be able to see that by pushing this button, it'll extend if it's in the retracted position, won't do anything if not. And if we push this button and the cylinder is in this extended position, it'll retract the cylinder. And again, do nothing if it's not extended. So here we've covered integrating proximity sensors into our ladder logic.